Get this track, boy. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
My Colorado swing. My Colorado swing. My Colorado swing. I think they like my Colorado swing. 'Cause when I'm in that play, I don't really know just how to act. And when I'm in that go, you know I'm acting bad. Holly get a bus with my Colorado swing. My Colorado swing. My Colorado swing. I think they like my Colorado swing. My Colorado swing. My Colorado swing. Man, I swear I think they like my Colorado swing. My Colorado swing is pushing 180. Speeding past competition, see you later, baby. Colorado Army with soldiers like the Navy. And voters where we stationed, patiently awaiting. When I hit the field, it's so hard to behave. I'm Colorado swagging as the crowd do the wave. Look into my eyes, I can tell that you afraid. 'Cause you know we finna hit ya. Hey, you on your own now, why you watching the official? You just better hope you make it to the next whistle. And we ain't playing with you can get it anytime. It started at the scrimmage, we gon' win it at the line. My Colorado swag in the middle of the ring. Throwing blows, knocking down team after team. They like my Colorado swag, 'cause when I'm in that play, I don't really know just how to act. And when I'm in that go, you know I'm acting bad. Holly get a bus with my
All right. Well, welcome into another episode of Adam Munsterteiger's BuffStampede Radio Live. Myself and Leo Rivera and Oliver's in the back room. Poke your head in there and say hello. It's been a little bit of a few weeks since our last episode. We've kind of been figuring out things and how things are going to go moving forward. So we are back. Some of these things we're gonna start getting back on a regular basis. Sunday morning, and sometimes we'll go live, sometimes we'll do a recorded episode, but I think we're going to try and do a lot of things differently. We're going to talk a little bit about what Liz Munsterteiger and ourselves are doing with an independent site here for a minute, but this is going to be our podcast again, your podcast really. So one thing I want to say right off the bat is if you want to, we want to give you what you need, what you want. So feel free to get into the comments and tell us what you want to see from us on podcast. What are the things that you're interested in? What would you like us to talk about and take a look at? Because we are here to do things that are interest to all of you. And just to be very clear about one thing, we're still here. In memory of Adam, our close friend, and some things are not going to change. I ain't changing who I am at 61 years old. You know what you get with me, and it ain't always pretty, and it often has sailor and marine language in it, and that's how it's going to be. But I don't sugarcoat it, and we have some fun with it. And the other thing that's going to continue as a tradition in this room is that piece of crap up in Oregon is still public enemy number one until somebody replaces him. Leo, good morning.
Good morning to you, William. It's great to be back. It's been a few weeks since I've got to see your lovely face on this screen, although we've got to meet in person, thankfully. But yeah, a lot of exciting things happening right now with BuffStampede and, our independent move. For those of you guys who haven't really heard officially yet, we're going to talk about that and kind of our website and how everything's going. But yeah, it's just exciting to be back representing, Adam Munsterteiger's BuffStampede Radio here today.
Yeah, and we're going to go. We'll end up going in our own directions a little bit, and we're going to try. What we'd like to do is more of the different film room things and get better at it. We want to do play analysis and breakdowns. So what we want to know is what people want to look at and hear from us. What are you not getting from other places? So we hope to be that, fill that role to give people what they're not seeing already at other places and a different look at it, frankly, a different outlook on it. So.
Yeah, yeah, I guess I could kind of start talking about our website, which is going to be launching right now. It just launched, actually. We just hit that special time, 11:11 a.m. we're going to be officially launching the Buff Stampede website. So this is going to be our new independent website where you guys can see all of our written content that Oliver and I will be providing, and of course, the contributors, Young Will, and of course William Gardner as well, will be helping out still on that website. Sean's probably still going to be helping contribute there as well. So all the familiar faces, all the things you love, are put into one place now, completely accessible for all you guys to go and check out. And what the really cool thing about this is that it was actually put together by the great Liz Munsterteiger. So she's been hard at work, grinding her tail off the last month or so since we kind of figured out we are going to be going on this independent move. She's been putting so much hours into covering, trying to get all these little bugs and issues put together. So I think what you see is a cultivation of a lot of hard work from her, and kind of just what Buff Stampede represents as an organization and what we're striving to be in the future. So if you guys want to, go check that out after this video, or maybe during, if you have a phone or you're watching on a laptop or something. But yeah, we're really excited about what this website's going to have for the future.
Yeah, and I think part of the, one of the questions is, why are we going this direction? I think Liz had several options when she was talking to On3 about what to do with the website. One of them was to go independent. The other was sort of to stay with On3 and run that website, and ultimately decided to go independently and do our own thing, which gives us a little more freedom in certain respects to do things our way and sort of improvise and make things up as we go along. So part of the deal is today is day one. Things keep getting better because you keep working on it.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing. We're going to take this by day approach. Like William's been saying, we really hope to get your guys' feedback and thoughts on the website and kind of content you guys want to see. But part of this independent chapter is really going to be about, just exploring our skills in media and the content you guys want to see, and continue to hold that legacy that Adam brought, which was, respectable and honorable journalism work that's going to be integral to the players. We're going to make sure that we're telling these stories accurately and actually giving, credible work and taking our time with this kind of stuff. So, I think Oliver Hayes, if you want to hop in and say a couple things as well about maybe your kind of thoughts on it, but a lot of work has really been going into this independent launch.
Yeah, I mean, not too much to add. I know the people are dying to hear about some football. But yeah, I mean, just like you guys said, a lot of work has gone into this. Liz behind the scenes creating the website. But then it takes the rest of us to all put in the work. Obviously, we've done some stuff like the top 20 with Brian. We all put in our lists and vote on that for some content. Me and Leo have been reaching out to different recruits and stuff like that, football and basketball. Don't forget about the basketball. We got William right here and Young Will in California. We got Sean, like you said. We got a whole group of people that are all working, and we especially have the audience behind us that that supports Buff Stampede and supported Adam for 23 years, and hopefully will continue to support us. Of course, we can't replace them. No one ever could, and it's not about that. It's just about trying to provide a light in the place of not in the place of where Adam was, but he was just, I don't know. There's an audience that he served, and we hope to serve you guys just as good as he could.
And on that note, and there's Liz popping in. And on that note, let's segue into what we're here for, because today is the last day before it all gets started and gets rolling, and CU gets back into camp for football, and helmets go on, and pads get a popping and all that kind of stuff. So it's got to be exciting. We're going to talk a little bit about getting into the previewing fall camp and everything, but I don't know, man. I see some people on these boards and they can't get excited at the beginning of August. I don't know what the hell you'd call yourself a fan for, man. Go play golf or something.
Yeah, it's that time of year. Finally, it's the dreaded off season. There's nothing like the wait and the agony and the pain of not being in football season, right? You get a little taste, a little sliver during that spring ball, but it's just not enough to really fulfill that thirst for football season. But it's finally here. Super excited to see what the Buffs are going to be able to show this season. It's going to start in Colorado Springs tomorrow, fall camp, day one on August 3rd. They're going to get after it in a foreign land to them, good old Colorado Springs. I'm not sure how many of the players on the team have actually been to Colorado Springs before, considering the great amount of out-of-state players. So I'm hoping they get a chance to check out the UCCS campus and get after it.
Yeah, and I think it's we're going to talk a little bit about fall camp. What are we excited to see, and what do we think about? Since we're mentioning it, what do we think about practice in Colorado Springs? Go ahead, Leo. I got some thoughts on it, but I want to hear what you say.
I think for team building and kind of chemistry, this is a phenomenal move. I almost compare it back to when you're in high school, right? And you go on those kind of team camps where you're going out, you're staying in the dorms for 3, 4, 5 days long, and you're bonding with your teammates, and it's hot and it's miserable, and you're stinky, and the showers are full, and all that kind of stuff that you got to bond and go through as football players to kind of develop your chemistry as men. You're going to see, who's ready to play at all circumstances. Are you ready to, sleep on a crappy dorm bed and get up and get going? Because most of these guys have their own, apartments and that kind of thing. So it's going to be good for the character of this team and the toughness, I believe. And I'm just excited to see what comes from it.
Well, Leo, back when I was playing high school football, we had to go out and build our own log cabins and saw it and chase the dinosaurs off the field. So it was a little bit tougher for us. But I have a comparison too. I think what comes to mind for me when I heard that they're going to go down to Colorado Springs is I think back to 2024, and I think that Coach Prime is laser focused on redemption this year. And I think that we've talked about it at great length. That last year with him fighting cancer and everything else, it wasn't really a fair opportunity to get this team prepped. And I think in 2024, they did a lot of things that they realized that leadership and chemistry and bonding and all that sort of stuff is very important. So like they did a summer leadership retreat.
Yeah.
In this year. They did that practice down in Denver, which I think is a bigger deal than people think. Kind of get the team out into the public and playing in front of people and whatever. And this is sort of like that. But I think in addition, this particular year, Coach Prime and his staff went to great lengths to make sure that every guy they brought into the transfer portal was a proven leader somewhere else. And guys who had played at this level and everything else. So I think that this practice in Colorado Springs, again, gets everybody away from campus, gets them away from all the distractions, girlfriends, whatever. I don't know, Coach McCartney used to say, you don't need to see your girlfriend while we're in camp, but get them down to Colorado Springs. Everybody's focused on football. There's nothing else going on, and they'll room with each other and I think it's starts out a laser focus on the season, and we're going to right from day one be serious about getting after Georgia Tech and kicking their backside. So I don't know. I think it's possibly exciting for fans down there, get the Buffs out of Boulder and something different. So I think it's an exciting way to start the season, and I think it's really I don't know. I just see lots of things that take me back to 2024 and that magical season. So I'm really excited about it.
You're not wrong at all there, William. I think you touched on some great points with what that means for the team and switching it up the routine. Like from 3 wins a year ago, you got to do something different, right? And I'm excited about the energy, and it just creates more buzz. It creates something for us to talk about as media. Let's be honest here. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting.
Well, I think the next thing to do is talk about what are we hoping to see, what are we excited to see. I think that I think as we get into camp, we got to take a look back at last year, right, and the things that went wrong. And part of it was we didn't have a good staff, and Coach Prime was not around because of his health issues and what have you. We struck out a quarterback, we struck out a linebacker, and we didn't. In my view, we had 2 NFL coordinators that didn't understand a college game. And the offense coordinator in particular was the worst offense coordinator I believe I've ever seen. That dude didn't know how to call a play to save his life. So when I look at what we're looking at going into 2026, I feel like we've addressed everything. The head coach was here, clearly has a whole different mentality and attitude.
Yeah.
We've got brand new coordinators that, in my view, are proven in the college game. People want to say, well, is Marion's offense proven at this level? But I think it's an offense that works, and it always has worked for him everywhere else. And I think Coach Marv, I think he has some pretty good defenses at Virginia Tech that, maybe they didn't like him after a year or two, but every defense he had there was better than anything we've had here in 10 years. So I'm excited to see what both of those guys bring to the table.
Yeah, there's definitely much reason to be excited about that coaching staff, and it really does start there, right? You got to make sure you have a good scheme, and foundationally, the things that these coaches are preaching and instilling in these early days of fall camp and throughout the spring need to be correct, and they need to make sure that it's discipline, and you're not going to be a team that's heavily penalized and making sloppy mistakes that are ultimately costing you games. Things like not tackling and not wrapping up, and kind of the little stuff we've seen that's really been the drop off from that 2024 year to the 2025 season. But I think for me, there's a lot of position battles, coming into this fall camp, which brings a lot of excitement. For the first time in a couple of years, it feels like we're really not sure who the starters are going to be at a few different spots, or kind of what those top rotations are going to look like. So I think this time throughout fall camp is going to be really big on getting to watch those and see which guys kind of shine and pop to our attention.
Yeah, and I think that when you going back to what I was saying about last year, we struck out a quarterback, and I think we have two really good quarterbacks. Frankly, our third team quarterback is young but has a real talent. But more importantly, we have an offense that doesn't require an NFL quarterback to run it. I recall that Brennan Marion said right off the bat that what his quarterback needs to be is a point guard, get the ball to the right guys. And I have watched the offense before, and he's basically running a triple option, man.
Yeah, it's like a quad option.
Almost like a quadruple option, because there's a pass option.
Yeah.
Too. So we're going to look at one of the plays with one of those guys a little bit later. But when you have an offense where the quarterback doesn't have to be a hero, and be a Shador and extend plays and make things happen, you don't need to have Travis Hunter and blanking on Jimmy Horn Jr. and all the other guys from that year.
Lejante Wester. Yeah.
You've got an offense now where everybody plays their role and everybody is positive. And then flip it over to the other side. And, our biggest struggle last year was both schematically and the linebackers, man. We didn't have a linebacker play the game worth a damn. And I think because Chris Marv is going to be a linebacker and a front seven coach, I've always felt like defenses and offenses play to the mentality and the strength of their coach, right? So if your defensive coordinator is a front seven guy, your front seven is going to be better. That's always been my view. And I think that he's going to make sure that I think we got three outstanding linebackers, and I think we got a couple of freshmen who are ready to go too. So I think that we made a real difference at linebacker. I think schematically, we're going to be very different, play our edge guys differently, to stop those quarterback runs, whatever. And I think we got some outstanding prospects at edge, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So I just think we've addressed a lot of the issues. Obviously, one of the big things last year was that a lot of that team quit. Okay.
Yeah.
And Coach Prime was very clear that he was looking for guys that were going to fight and get after it. So I think we've really addressed all the issues that made us struggle last year, and so I'm very excited about this season. And of course, you got to look at the rest of the conference. One last thing, and I'll then pass it off to you a little bit, but or maybe I'll just keep talking. You got to. But
I got some thoughts.
We are not in a conference that's a murderer's row, man. We are not in a conference outside of Texas Tech, which bought itself an NFL team. We don't know what the hell these teams are. There's nobody in it that's head and shoulders above us. This is the first time in a long time that you look at our season, and every game is potentially winnable.
Yeah.
So I take that into account too. That some of these Big 12 teams are going to have some problems, man. I mean, Utah's got to rebuild from the ground up. Oklahoma State, I don't buy the hype on them because they weren't any good last year. So we'll see.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to discuss within the top of the conference. I think, you look at, I think foundationally, you got to look at like the Kelly Dillinghams, the Kalani Stefanis, the coaches who have kind of been there and done that, who are really probably rising towards the top. But like you said, Oklahoma State's got a new coach in Eric Morris, and they're kind of rebuilt their entire program and their motto. So can all those new transfers really make the jump real quick? Some people think so, but you're kind of right, William. I think that the schedule is definitely a lot more open when you consider that it's not just CU going through all these changes. It's kind of a conference thing. And I also quickly just wanted to acknowledge everyone in the chat. I see all you guys who have been typing, Jack and everybody who's been in here. So we appreciate you guys, stopping in on your Sunday and showing some love and helping us continue this thing on as we officially launch our website and, start previewing fall camp. So I guess I'll talk a little bit about what I'm kind of looking at more with fall camp with that O-line.
Just to segue off of that real quick, I see Jack Crawford commented in the comments. I don't know if you were here, Jack, when I said that some things are not going to change, and one of them was going to be that candy ass pussy up in Oregon is still public enemy #1 until he's replaced. And again, as I also said, I don't always speak with the most refined language. 10 years in the Marine Corps and the Navy, you kind of get what you get. Anyway, back to your point.
Yeah, I love that. And that's what we're going to get here on this show. We're going to keep it real and we're going to have a great time. But speaking of having a great time, it's going to start up front always, right? And I'm always going to try to bring you back to the trenches and that offensive line because that's where I think, there's some real competition. We're going to talk about some players individually. I know you are, William, but you look at a lot of returning players, and that's kind of one of the groups of this team that you actually did get retention. You had the big loss in Jordan Seaton, but outside of that, you have a lot of guys who have had starting experience like Andre Roy and Philip Houston and Larry Johnson, who are all, going to have another year in this program, and they're going to kind of have first dibs at trying to get those starting spots. So it's really going to be interesting to see how the transfer players are going to mesh with the returning guys and try to compete.
Yeah, and you got guys like Leon Bell, who was a starter at Cal last year, and he's freaking massive. I mean, he's half the offensive line just himself with his size. But a guy like Javen Richardson is huge. Played a little bit at Missouri last year.
Yeah.
Through Taj White, started a lot of games at Rutgers.
I like him a lot. Bo Hewley coming over from Georgia.
Right. Now I look at a guy like Taj White who started a bunch of games for Rutgers in the Big Ten. He ain't going to see anybody in this conference like he had to go against in the Big Ten because this conference doesn't have those guys, And so you look at like guys, Bo Hewley coming from Georgia, man.
Yeah.
He saw better guys in practice than he'll ever see in this conference on the defensive line. So it's very exciting. And then you got guys, Chauncey Gooden had a great spring, showed that he did. He's a butt kicker and Yaya is just keeps getting better and better.
Exactly. Those are two also returning guys. And you also got Jose Soto, who's coming over at guard, and he was in Brendan Marion's go-go system and started some games there. So, like you said, there's just experience across the board.
Yeah, Demetrius Hunter was the starter at Houston the last 2 years, so he knows.
We haven't even talked about him.
Out. And the guy I don't know if it's backing up because Sean Kenny's going to push him as hard as he can because Sean Kenny's been starting at center for 2 years too. And working at his level. So they brought in a lot of guys, and then we didn't mention Phil Houston, who, Philip Houston, we're going to show a play, I think, of him, but at the end of before he got hurt at the end of 2024, he was playing first-rate ball at right tackle. And I think he's bigger now, and so we'll see what he has to do. Larry Johnson, could play guard and tackle. I'm very excited about this line. The big question mark is, can that coaching staff, the 4 Gs, put the right guys out there and in the right combination to get that chemistry?
Yeah, I'm excited to see what the 4 Gs are able to do. And that's Coach Andre Gerard, Coach George Hageman, Coach Grant Hammer, and Coach Gunnar White. So those are the 4 Gs, if you guys don't know. Super excited to see, again, what that unit's going to form into and kind of materialize. And eventually, whoever 5 walk out during Georgia Tech, they got to be ready to bang. And they got to have that nastiness and mentality that they're going to run someone over.
Do you realize, and I don't know if people ought to realize, this is the first time in a decade that we have returned our offensive line coaches, which is crazy because you can't get continuity and build an offensive line if you're changing the damn offensive line coach every year. And half of those years, what we put in there was a tomato can. I don't know, I don't know how some of these guys got hired. They got pictures of somebody, but having these guys all back for a second year in a row, I think is a bigger deal than people think. You as an offensive line coach, I've been an offensive line coach, and being able to stick around and have that go on. But we had a list. Oliver asked us to say, what are we excited to see? And I was like, well, football, man. And then
that's the easy answer.
Yeah. I was like, well, Marion's offense, Marv's defense. I want to see what the energy is like under a rejuvenated Coach Prime. I want to see how those offensive line coaches select and mold this line. I want to see how Dante Carter, that young defensive line coach, does tackle spot, because let's face it, that's the big question mark for everybody, is that defensive tackle spots. So I don't know, a lot going on.
No, certainly. There's definitely a lot of headlines and kind of players that are going to be, monitoring coming into this few short weeks, because once, September 3rd rolls around, then there ain't no hiding. You can't hide any weaknesses. You can't hide, the little things you've been slacking on. So it's going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, and I see in here, BZ Gaming 262 said he thinks it'll be more of an air raid. This is going to be a run first offense. Count on it. And that's why they have two running backs out there. And one thing that's very clear, and even from spring ball, is that they have that Marion likes to have a bigger running back. If you look at their formation, there's a quarterback, and then there's an inside running back and an outside running back. That inside guy is an off tackle, inside run, basically the fullback in a wishbone, right?
Yeah.
The outside guy is the pitch man and more involved in the pass game. And that inside running back for Brennan Marion usually gets 1,000 yards. So this is going to be a serious running offense, and then the passing offense plays off of that after they try to stop it. So lots of things to look at. I think we'll see more of that. They're not going to probably show us too much in fall camp. But I think that there's a lot of differences that are exciting about this fall camp. Just the energy of everybody, the leadership on this team, the guys, we're all excited to see some of these guys get out and play. And Oliver asked me, what are a couple of guys that you're excited to watch? I was like, the roster, all of them. So, hey, Oliver, are we going to commercial? What are we doing here?
Yeah, I think that's
yeah.
Sorry for the.
No, yeah, figuring out some things behind the scenes, but yeah, let's take it to a commercial and then we'll get back and then jump into. I know you want to talk about the whole roster. You damn near sent back the whole roster in the email last night, but we have a few guys picked. I think it's like six guys.
Old guys prerogative. Old. And people if you in the chat, put it in there the guys that you're interested in seeing, because I'm interested in what other people are thinking too.
Yeah, maybe I can pull up a clip or two of whoever people shout out. But like I said, we have I think 6 guys to get through and a few ads as well. So let's go to Taco Bell from our boy Adam. Oh wait, is it not? Oh,
when one layer isn't enough, we go deeper. Actually, Taco Bell, they go triple. Introducing the Triple Double Crunch Wrap. Premium all-white meat marinated chicken, seasoned with bold Mexican spices and tossed in a crunchy tortilla chip coating and dusted with bold, flavorful Diablo spice seasoning, served with spicy ranch sauce. And because we couldn't stop there, pair it with Zab's nacho fries, golden crisp nacho fries, savory, slow roasted chicken, warm nacho cheese, freshly prepared pico de gallo, creamy ranch that is infused with Zab's St. Augustine sauce, and a blend of mozzarella, pepper jack, and cheddar cheese. This isn't just a meal, it's a full-on flavor experience. More layers, more flavor, more reasons to be back again at Taco Bell. Because at Taco Bell, they don't do average, they do extra. Triple, double, crunch wrap, and only at
That got me hungry. I'm not gonna lie, the little ding getting me ready to eat.
That kind of got me a little teary-eyed, brother. Can't believe our guy's not here, but we go on. Life goes on, and we keep moving.
We got to.
Yeah. So, Rashid says, used to seeing me on the right side of the screen. Yeah, I got to get used to it too. I don't know. I could just sit back before and just run my mouth and riff off whatever Adam put out there. Now I got to kind of lead the show, so we'll see if I do any good or not. Let's talk a little bit about what it means to have a healthy Coach Prime, and let's go all the way back to January and recruiting and all that kind of thing, and recruiting for the portal, for high school, everything else. What does it mean? And you've played a lot of football and coached some football. What does it mean to have a coach that's not healthy, first of all, and then is.
Yeah, thankfully I can't really speak to having a coach, who wasn't able to kind of be around and kind of go through those kind of health struggles. But I could talk about the differences in like having that person who's around, right? And especially for that staff, when you talk about things like the leadership retreat, William, and those different events that we've talked about this summer, and that's kind of what's making this team special. That's what the team a year ago lacked, and they didn't have that continuity. They didn't have the big boss kind of walking around overseeing, making sure that the coaches are preaching the right technique and giving the right fundamentals in each and every drill. And he's not there to kind of govern and go around and be as hands-on as he usually is, right? A lot of the players, they talk about one of their favorite things about Coach Prime is that he's going to get up, he's going to explain DB technique. He's going to kind of point out little nuances and tips and tricks for those guys to kind of observe and, look at. So I think that's what's going to make it, really kind of different this season is you're going to be recharged and you're going to have that energy and that feel that Coach Prime's watching me, and I got to make sure I'm on my A game because I'm not sure when the big boss is going to be around to see me during my drill and that kind of thing.
And I think I've been around enough football to know that the head coach sets the tone for the team, and I get some of these idiots, talking on these boards, and they act like the dude didn't have cancer and what he had to go through in surgery to actually have some of his organs rebuilt. And some of these clowns posting up some of this stuff, your ass wouldn't even get out of bed, dude. So shut your pie hole. And I think that staff he had last year let him down in a big way, and I think he knew it. And I think that's why he went a different direction this year. But from everything from the recruiting, like he talks about, he looked at every single guy that they looked at in the portal before they said yes. He looked at their film and talked to them and made sure they had the right kind of guys. And we've all seen the kind of energy Coach Prime has on the field when he's feeling right. But it makes all the difference in the world in every aspect of the program. I saw some idiot on one of the boards say, "Well, I don't think Coach Prime is 100% devoted to his job." Well, fuck you, man. Dude, how devoted are you going to be when you have surgery, Chief? And he still showed up every day, So I think it makes a difference. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder and he wants to prove something. I've said this all along. I think Coach Prime is a man that learns from his mistakes and does things better moving forward. So I think it's a huge deal to have him back in every way. And I think he's hired coordinators this year. Our coordinators did not hold their position coaches accountable last year, period. These guys, Marv and Marion, you're going to get your team, you're going to get your players ready. And then, you got guys like, oh my God, what am I trying to think of?
Like Josh Niblett,
who was just a force of nature, man. That guy, I remember back when Coach McCartney was here and he was trying to find a new strength coach at one point, and I can't remember the coach's name. He was the one who was with us through the national championship. And Coach McCartney talked about how he was talking to this coach. His coach is like, "Well, how do you motivate them when they're tired and not motivated? They got class, whatever it is." And he looked at Coach McCartney and said, "Coach, I ain't met the man. I can't motivate." And you got to have that sometimes because everybody's not Travis Hunter and shows up ready to roll, And so that's an important thing. I think we got, guys like Josh Niblett and other people on this staff that having Coach Prime healthy is just a huge difference. And I think you see it in the high school recruiting right now, so with the kinds of people that we're getting to commit to us and everything. So I think our next question is, which position battle are we most excited for? And I had a hard time with that one too, because all of them really, there's something to be said for every position on this team right now. But what's your top? I think we talked about offensive line. What else?
Yeah, I definitely jumped the gun a little on that one. I was definitely, O-line, 100%. That's what I'm watching. That's what I'm looking at. But I think also that wide receiver room, William, when you look at the fact that you got a lot of big dogs in there who want to go out and catch the ball and be the focal point of the offense, and there's only one football to go around, and there's, two running backs in this offense as well, and a tight end, and two. So the football is going to have to go around, and you got guys like DeAndre Moore, you got Danny Scudero, you got Ernest Campbell, and they're coming in with guys like Joseph Williams who have been here, and Hakeem Williams, and that kind of players who have that. And Cam Perry, of course, you got to throw out his name. You want that kind of connection and making sure you have all those guys competing for the top dog spot.
Yeah, and you really got that sort of the same thing at running back too. I think Damian Henderson came out on top of the ring, but Richard Young's a guy with a lot of talent. Michael Wells has been around a while, so DeCaleb Taylor I think is going to fight with Jaquale Smith for that outside running back spot. But it's going to be interesting how that plays out. And really, the only position that doesn't have any competition is tight end because but even there, I think we brought in some guys that can help us out. But the one I'm there's basically the whole front seven. That defensive tackle room is everybody's concern. But I think we got some guys there. I want to see if Santana Hopper can bring it. He played in the college football playoff last year, and so he's shown that he could play against teams at this level. I want to see if Wiggins at 300 pounds finally reaches the. I mean that guy's got all world
He's
talent.
beefy. Yeah.
This one's a murder. But Samu Taumanu Pepe really impressed me in the spring game with how stout he was in the middle, and with his size, that could be really important. So watching some of those guys, but then on the edge, I think there's three guys that really stand out, and Toby and Nene and Billy Taufadafua.
Yeah, Taufadafua
are all 50 year or older, 260-pound defensive ends who I think are going to do a phenomenal job out there. So I'm just kind of looking to see what happens in that room. And then we got the three linebackers. Everybody knows about Gideon Lamprin and Leona Leufau, who started at Texas last year. But the guy that came out of spring on top was Tyler Martinez. And I think that Leufau has the size and the athleticism. Tyler Martinez is a technician and has vision. So I think he's exciting to watch. But there's just so many positions that we're going to have to see how they play out. And, really whoever came out on top in spring doesn't really mean anything now, so it's exciting.
Yeah, like you said, it's a brand new season. Once you kind of clear that spring ball and all that summer workouts and everything. So again, ultimately it's going to come down to who's been putting in the work and who's staying healthy and that kind of thing to be able to come out and contribute for this team. So I think, whatever happens is going to be really exciting.
Yeah, and I think we're going to kind of wrap things up here with talking about one player on each side of the ball to surprise everyone, or in my case, several players on each side of the ball, because I can't decide. But we're going to have a little film clips for some of those, and then somebody mentioned Randon Fontenette. He's going to be one of the guys we talk about. So let's just dive in it. Oliver, you ready to go with stuff?
Yeah, I'm all ready. I got the graphics ready. I got the clips ready. So just start with whoever, and we can get off to the races.
Well, the question was who is the offensive defensive player that is going to surprise a lot of people, and there's no question in my mind the guy is Damian Henderson. People do not give this guy enough credit. He's big, he's powerful. He put up 550 yards in this offense last year. And that was running behind a senior who was drafted who got 1,200 yards. He's got speed to take it to the house, which has really impressed me in spring ball. I saw that a couple of times. And I think we got to play here. And if you look at 6'2", 205, probably up to about 210 right now, kind of brings back a little thoughts of Chris Brown. And I think you'll see that in this clip here, where they're running the basic offense. And just hold it right there. And so go ahead and roll it. So I don't know if you follow that. Take that back real quick and freeze it right at the start. So we got a motion man coming across, and there's really three options for the quarterback here. They got a running back up kind of on the wing, and then Henderson is the guy right behind the quarterback, and and the quarterback is reading somebody with his eyes. If you watch that, he's going to hand off to Henderson, and Henderson's going to just get right up the middle for a first down on this play.
Yeah, and when we talk about Henderson, he's just a football guy, right? He's started off at Colorado State, spent some time there before going back to Sac State, and kind of finding his footing and really, building that skill. He's had a lot of experience in college football and he's been around. So this year, I think his body's kind of finally built for the position. He looks the part and he's got all the attributes and skills to really burst onto the scene. So I totally agree with you, William. He's one of the players that I've been super excited about since his arrival. And I think it's going to be really good for him to run behind this offensive line.
And I love on that play. He made about 10 yards after the first contact.
Yeah, and when you have that, big body leaning forward, he's going to fall forward for a couple of yards after contact, and that's kind of what you really like with that 6 foot, one frame, where he's a solid power back, but he also provides that speed and breakaway, option like you were kind of alluding to earlier, William.
Yeah. All right, who do you got on offense?
Yeah, I was thinking Damian Henderson as well, but I'll go to a guy in DeAndre Moore. When we talk about surprise, right? I think he's kind of the third guy who's kind of been hidden behind Cam Perry and Danny Scudero, who are both phenomenal players. And I'm really excited to see both of them.
He was
But
out in spring, so I think people forgot about him.
yeah, exactly. Dealing with injury. And so he's kind of, I think floating down under the radar with what he's able to do. But his production kind of speaks for itself, right? In SEC, in that tough competition, he's been able to take the top off the defense. He's been able to, have some explosive plays. And I think that's really what Colorado was expecting to get out of him this season, is to be able to have those big yardage plays where it's kind of exciting. And I guess you could almost say, like alluding to the comment earlier, a little bit of air raid-esque, where he's, going to be going down the field, but he's also a really solid route runner and can create separation. So it's going to be exciting to see this year.
The problem for defenses is if you're not stopping that run, and then you're going to start to adjust and walk people up to stop the run, we got a lot of guys that can get behind you, and so we just got to make sure our quarterback is able to deliver those balls when the opportunity is there. And Oliver, do you have a play for DeAndre?
Yeah, let's look at this one during his time at Texas.
Okay. Now take it back real quick. And now freeze it, stop it right there. And you're going to see DeAndre Moore is the second guy up. He's on the hash marks towards the bottom of the field, okay? And go ahead and run it. And that's the kind of thing you can expect from him, because he did that quite often at Texas against SEC defenses. So, again, coming to the Big 12, that's a step down. So it should be no problem at all.
Totally. You're totally right on that one. And it's that speed that's exciting, right? Because like you said, William, you start running the ball, all of a sudden the defense is playing closer to the line of scrimmage. They're trying to load the box, and then Juju pulls it, and all of a sudden you got DeAndre Moore running over the top uncovered because your safety or cornerback was caught looking in the backfield and trying to stop the run. So theoretically, that is how this offense is going to be effective, but it's going to be exciting to see.
Another guy I mentioned to Oliver, and we talked about a little bit earlier, was Philip Houston, and I don't know if he's going to surprise. I think he's closer to 300 pounds from what I've heard, from what I've seen. But he was playing really well towards the end of 2024, and if he comes back to that level of play, he's going to be a factor on this offensive line. I don't know, there's just so much talent on that offensive line and experience. It's hard to know who those stars are going to be, but I think this is a guy you can't forget about. So let's take a look at this. Is going to be a screen pass, and he's going to be the right tackle, number 54. And you see his athleticism out here, and then you see his physicality at the end of the play. Let's run this.
Bink.
Boom. And that's just, I call that football porn right there. I can just watch that over and over and over again. I said, son, you needed to fall down long before that man got to you. But
oh yeah, and that's just simple. Get it out there, let your big man go run and take out a DB. So when you get your linemen on smaller guys like that, that's what's supposed to happen. And so you love to see him run his feet through contact and really explode through his opponent and just humiliate him. And right there to get him again. He got him a second time. That's the nastiness you like to see.
And then I think what this really shows you is his athleticism at his size to be able to move.
100%. I'm seeing some comments that I kind of want to acknowledge. William, they love the fan. When the fan's on, you got to lock in. So I think, it's good to be talking ball with you. I just want to acknowledge that and say thank you to everyone who's, down in the comments and everything right now.
Well, that's my friend Nicole. I know we got a show going when she shows up.
Yeah, 100%. And it's, few things I saw as well too. We got Adam's OG poster. I haven't acknowledged that yet. And you know what? Adam's always a giver. He left a surprise. He got me a Buff Stampede shirt.
Well,
Had one ready to go. One of the last things, that he's always leaving surprises. So Liz was able to get this to me on
and
Saturday.
Leo makes a good point, because if you remember the things that were behind Adam when he was sitting in his chair, it was that football behind Leo, and it was this right up here, the flat irons, which was painted by Liz's sister, who graciously gave that to me. So we got both of those things still in the background of our.
And if anybody recognizes this mic, it's from our boy.
We got a lot of things to remind us of him, and as we're going forward. So, it's going to be a weird season to go without him. So we're going to be talking about it a lot, but.
Got it. But yeah, so if you feel the energy and you notice these kind of small things, shout them out, call it out and continue talking about Adam, because that's what we're here for, right? This is his show. He started this. So as much as you guys are talking about how excited you are to have, William talking and stuff, we're excited to be here, and we're excited to, continue to provide this space for you guys. And I think that's what's made the Buff Stampede family so special over the years, is the fact that, it really is a family, and we're here to support each other.
And again, put in the notes, things that you want to talk about in future episodes or take a look at, whatever, because this is for you. It's not for us. Well, it is, I get to get on here and cuss and, talk about, people I don't like in the Pacific Northwest and things like that. But anyway, moving to defense, we talked about a couple of players that we think are going to be surprising to people. And I had two in particular. Well, I had four actually, but the first one is somebody's already mentioned, which is Randon Fontenette. And I think I had Randon Fontenette as my number one guy in our top 20 players on the team. And here's a guy who played outside linebacker and at Vanderbilt, again, against the SEC, 24 starts in the last 2 years. You look at his stats there, and it's just kind of got a little bit of everything. At 6'2", 220, he can run. He's the kind of guy like a Travis Hunter who changes games because you can do so many things with him. And I think people are going to be really surprised. I think people don't realize what we've got in Randon Fontenette. That kind of size and that kind of athleticism is crazy.
Yeah, you're talking about a true NFL talent, William, and a guy who, if he has, the year that he is coming to Colorado to have, and kind of the expectation that's coming over, is going to put some good film on and, be desirable. And that's, again, the explosion, the production, and that Coach Prime has really been looking for with this transfer class and the players he's getting, right? No matter the quote-unquote level, or whether it's the SEC with a guy like Randon Fontenette or someone who's coming from, FBS or so it's totally going to be, a new look.
One of the things you want as a coach is you want players who give you options, right? So you got your standard guys, like Randon Fontenette is a guy, you can walk him up on a line, you can rush the passer with him. He could be in a run defense, he could be the nickel, he could drop back and cover receivers in the secondary. Just so many different things that you don't have to send in specific personnel when you got a guy that can do so many different things. So that's one of the ones for me. Who did you have?
Yeah, on the defensive side of the ball, it's one of the guys you mentioned as well is Toby Aneen, coming over from North Dakota State. This is a guy I'm super high on, as are a lot of people, because of his production, right? Every single year at North Dakota State, he's taken a step up, and coming off, his best season in 2025 where he had 7 sacks. He's long, he's stout, and he can get after the quarterback, and he's really good at also setting the edge and kind of playing his position truly as an edge guy, right? He's not going to be someone who's undisciplined and chasing upfield and get hit with something coming around him. He's going to be there.
And that brings me to the most important point about one thing we got to figure out is whether it's a Nenny or a Neen. We
do.
There is no better coach program in America than North Dakota State. And you play at North Dakota State, you will be fundamentally sound. You will be disciplined. You will play hard. And he was coached by those guys for 4 years. So he comes to Colorado ready to play.
Yes.
Having been developed, and like he said, what he just wants to show that he can do it against the highest level. And I think he's
big dogs.
I think he's going to shock people and surprise people, and I think he's going to be a guy. I think he's going to be our BJ Green, frankly. Like
not a bad comparison. I see BZ Gaming down in the chat says his sleeper is Balansama Kamara, who's also another edge on the opposite side. That's not a bad call either. I think he's another guy too who's going to come in and compete for a starting job and be really exciting on the edge.
Well, we got 3 guys on that edge group that are all 5th-year seniors that are grown-ass men, 260 pounds, that can all, the only thing is we're gonna have to come up with a name for Billy. Taufata Fua.
Taufata Fua.
But I think he's another guy, that coming out of the Utah program and sort of the stops he had that I think is good. But I think we got a play. I think we got a pass rush play from Toby and that we're going to take a look at here.
Let's run it.
Yeah, and I did look it up. It's pronounced Anene.
It is Anene.
I was right.
You're right. You're right.
Right. I was wrong once before, but it's because I thought I was wrong. Watch and I've coached defensive line as well. What you're going to see here is he's going to get off the ball and he's going to get both hands up into this offensive tackle, and he's going to do what we call a push pull, and he's going to rip. And it's a really beautiful technique on this. But let's just run it, and you kind of see he's going against a much bigger tackle here, and watch what he does.
Great technique.
Yeah. And then, hello, Mr. Quarter. That right there is the best thing in football, bar none. The only thing is better if you put a face mask right between their shoulder blades and the snot comes out of their nose. But
drop it on them. Yep.
A bit too violent for the folks at home.
Well, I think what's interesting too.
That push pull. Go ahead, Leo.
Yeah, I was going to say I'll let you describe the move and kind of what you see there. But one thing I want to point out, just from the stance, look how low he is with his hand in the dirt. You don't see that a lot of the times from edge rushers anymore who really want to actually have their hand down and still are productive. They're lining out in a wide 9 and trying to get this big looping angle. Toby's smart. He's going to, play more condensed, and it's a shorter path to the quarterback. Why are you trying to make your distance so long when you can just beat him with technique? And I think that's what's so awesome about this rep as well.
So we'll just run through it one more time, and we'll move on to something else here. Get the hands, pull there. And then
rip around.
The acceleration after the rip. I just like watching that play because everybody on that defensive line is fundamentally sound, and you just don't see that all the time.
It's a well-coached team, like you alluded to.
Yeah. And didn't you have a play, Oliver, didn't you have a play for us for Rain and Fontenette? Did Oliver take
there? It is.
Okay, well, point us out. So let's see. There we go. Make it a little bit bigger. So he should be
right center field.
Yeah, he's right in the middle of the field there, about 12 yards off the ball, 10 yards off the ball. It just right behind the back judge. So let's take a look. Oh. So he got the pass breakup and then had the wherewithal and the athleticism to stick with it and take it in for 6. So he's read that play very well, stepped up, and then all those guys had angles on him, and he beat him to the corner.
Crazy speed. And yeah, you talk about, I don't want to misspeak here, being an offensive guy, but it looks like he's playing robber coverage, so he's just over there lurking right across that middle of that field. And makes a great play on the ball, able to track it down, and you're not going to catch him to the end zone.
Yeah, and that's against Alabama. That's not against Colorado State. So that's the real deal right there.
Yeah, definitely, super exciting player.
All right, Oliver, do we have any more clips of anybody?
One player that you guys brought up in the plans was Cree Thomas. So we have a 70-0 pass breakup if you guys want to see that.
Yeah, and just real quick, this will be the last one we have, but there's a couple of other guys. So I don't know that he's a surprise, but Boo Carter, Coach Prime was interviewed today and talking about he's going to be a draft pick. and he really came on in the spring, and it really looks like Cree Thomas and Boo Carter are going to be those two cornerbacks. That's exciting because that dude, Boo Carter is a guy with that Travis Hunter sort of ability to break the game open in a variety of ways, whether it's returning kicks or punts or what have you. But and then Cree Thomas, coming from Notre Dame, is a guy with all the talent in the world, and Coach Prime was really high on what he did in spring as well, and he really kind of locked down one of those spots. So I'm excited about him. But and then one last player I want to talk about is Tyler Martinez. But let's see this play with Cree Thomas and Notre Dame.
Yeah, didn't play a whole lot in his redshirt freshman year, but long, really rangy, and able to make a good pass deflection here.
But I'm getting pass interference.
Yeah. Look at him cut off the inside, though. Really good inside leverage, making sure that he can't get beat with the slant, because that's what you don't want to get hit with right there on the goal line. But help play the outside shoulder, and really good stuff.
Yeah, and he's only in his second year, so he's got a bright future ahead of him.
Yeah, really young guy.
And got great size and great length, as you can see. You can see his length right there. Close game, came down to the wire. Probably a last-minute play by Notre Dame to win that one, 70-0.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Notre Dame was really making it out of there without Cree on the field, but he's going to be exciting for this season. He's a really good personality as well, and I think he's one of those guys when you talk about character and lead by example. He's one of the guys who's going to come in and sat behind two really good corners at Notre Dame, and he's kind of been able to take that and learn from it, and I think he provides a lot for this team.
And then the last guy I want to talk about is Tyler Martinez at linebacker, and then we'll kind of wrap this thing up and everybody back to their Sunday. But everybody knows about the three linebackers we got: Leon Olifa, Florida, Texas, and Ron, whose highlight reel was just freaking outstanding and outrageous. But everybody kind of forgets about Tyler Martinez at 6'1", 220, came in from New Mexico State. But what I saw watching his film right after he committed to CU was he is an outstanding technician. Every little detail of his technique is correct. He keeps his shoulder pads square to the line. He steps up into the holes, and he's got that Nate Landman sort of ability to read plays quickly and not get blocked but avoid blocks. So I think he's a guy that's going to surprise a lot of people. I think everybody figures Lamprin and Leaf are going to be the starters, but I think Tyler Martinez is going to have some things to say about that too. But the nice thing is with those three linebackers, again, you got some options. You can put all three of them in the field in some different looks and really like against Georgia Tech. If they want to try to run the ball against those three guys and walk up Randon Fontenette.
Well, 12 personnel. Yep.
Yeah. So those are kinds of guys we're talking about. Exciting. One guy we're talking about, a linebacker to keep an eye on, Carson Crawford, who's a true freshman coming out of Texas. That guy looking at him without pads on, it looks like he's already an NFL player, 6'4", 240, and his high school film was just crazy. He's got all the talent in the world. Rodney Colton, I've heard, is around 245. So really some exciting things to look at on this team. And we're going to get started tomorrow and see what begins happening. So
yeah, it's finally here, William. Thank goodness. We've been trying to do all these shows and come up with all whatever our thoughts are, right? But it's finally here, so we're excited to hit the ground running tomorrow. And make sure, if you guys haven't heard, go check out the new Buff Stampede website. It is still buffstampede.com, where all our written content's going to be. It's going to have links to different videos and stuff like the radio show. And ultimately, we are going to make sure we get up and get the chat going up on there as well. So a lot to be excited about.
Yeah, and so that's all we got for today. Again, put in the comments what you'd like to see us talk about. 1980. Well, 1980s, I was actually still playing a damn game. I wasn't quite the leather helmet days, but we're going to be back next Sunday. We haven't decided what we're going to talk about yet, but maybe your input will help with that a little bit.
Totally.
One of the ideas I had was to take a deeper look at both of our coordinators this year, because I think we got two exciting guys. But we will be back. We are back in the saddle as the saying goes, or I don't know if that's saying.
Back on the saddle. Yeah.
And we're thrilled to have you all here, and very grateful to have you all here. And there's going to be some moments when that emotion hits this year. So we miss you, Adam, and we are happy to have everybody back. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
On the drive down here, Brian, I saw the McRib is back. So we got that going for us this week as well.
Hey, anytime that's back, that's a good thing, right?
You can't pick everybody.
Well, I can. Why can't I? Like you said, and I quote, no criteria, no rules.
Well, London Merritt's my guy, and you're stepping on my toes here.
Okay.
Just look, he flipped from Ohio State to Colorado late in the process. Let that sink in.
Right, that's a.
You guys were able to get it in one bite, huh?
It's a struggle.
Squeeze it down.
That's a good burger,
From Oregon. Sorry,
yeah,
just
yeah.
trying to-
Yesterday,
trying
yeah.
to throw it in.
Dylan Gabriel. That's who you're talking about.
Well,
Who
that didn't.
who is he coached by in college?
My punk that needs to get beat up, but obviously my comedic timing was not there. You just didn't pick up on that.
It worked. It worked. I had to process what you were saying real quick.
You got to be quick, man. You got to.
Colorado, a huge win tonight.
Well, I'll give you $10, Brian. There's some crusty tortillas over there. Will you eat one of those for $10?
Save your money. Go get another mediocre calzone.
It might be just as good as that calzone we had last night. So
It just might be.
We'll just put a burrito in one hand, a dumbbell in the other, and just pump, eat, and then switch so you don't have, one side just getting too bulky, the other side not getting enough stimulation.
I'm not hiring you as my personal trainer. You're fired. You're fired. But
They won 9 freaking games and won the Heisman Trophy last year.
Yeah, right.
So Rick George is the reason that happened because he brought in Coach Prime and I want these Loveland kids to do well at Colorado. I can't really be a fan while they're in college because of the whole journalistic standard thing, but internally I'm definitely rooting for these guys.
nationally, I mean, you've got.
The wind's almost blowing the camera over here.
So that's where this season's just completely falling apart. Check 1 2, check 1 2, check 1 2. Brian, will you check to see if the audio is working? Check. That's great. Travis Hunter, what is your vertical leap? We want to find out April 4th in this indoor practice facility. Ice baby, ice baby.